Welcome in. It is really excellent to have you with us for this custom-tailored deep dive today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And if you're prepping for a complex meeting or, just actively seeking some new mental models, you are definitely in the right place.
Exactly. Our objective today is to take a single, highly specific source text, extract the core insights, and provide you with a sophisticated shortcut to understanding its broader implications.
Right, and the source material we are examining today is, well, it's wonderfully unconventional.
It really is.
We are not looking at some dense peer-reviewed journal or macroeconomic research. We're looking at a single blog post.
Published on March 4th, 2026.
Yeah, on a site called qianmeng.org. And the author is an individual named Ang, who identifies himself simply as an old software plumber.
Old software plumber, which is such a fascinating self-designation, right?
It really establishes this specific utilitarian framework right from the jump.
It does. And we have a twofold mission today. First, we're going to extract some really counterintuitive botanical insights from a propagation experiment that Ang conducted. And second, we're going to explore the fascinating mindset of a relentless, lifelong learner who just documents everything.
It's basically a masterclass in how an engineering mindset interfaces with the unpredictability of the natural world.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So the post documents Ang's attempt to propagate Bougainvillea.
Right.
And for context, if you don't know, Bougainvillea is this notoriously vigorous, woody climbing vine.
It's everywhere in tropical and subtropical climates.
Exactly, known for these massive displays of vibrant color. So Ang sets out to cultivate his own plants from cuttings taken from a mature vine.
But he hits a significant bottleneck almost immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And what's wild is he documents the flaws in his own process with this surprising clinical detachment.
Right. He admits he just didn't pay close attention.
He sowed the cuttings directly into regular soil, not like a special propagation mix.
And crucially, he entirely skipped using rooting hormone.
Which is huge.
It's a massive variable to isolate because rooting hormones provide concentrated synthetic auxins.
Which signal the stem cells to become root tissue instead of leaves.
Exactly. By omitting that and using standard soil, which probably suffocated the cells with too much moisture, he systematically disadvantaged the entire batch.
And the result reflects that. The statistics are brutal.
Just completely abysmal.
Out of about 30 cuttings, only 2 survived.
2.
A normal gardener would look at those 28 dead twigs and see a profound personal failure.
They'd probably just throw the whole project out.
Or at least never mention it to anyone.
Right. What's fascinating here is how Ang processes this catastrophic yield.
He doesn't hide it at all.
Not even a little, because we have to view this through his software plumber lens. In software, a system failure isn't a moral failing.
It's just a bug.
It's simply a bug. And the standard operating procedure for a bug is to meticulously log the error.
You document the parameters that led to the crash?
Exactly. You isolate the variables. He is essentially debugging his own gardening process.
He's taking the non-deterministic chaos of nature and applying deterministic logging to it.
It removes the ego entirely.
Right, which brings us to the breakthrough. Because despite those terrible odds, one of those 2 surviving cuttings finally bloomed.
Actually got a bloom.
And he includes this incredibly precise visual description in the post.
Which highlights a major misconception about this plant.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Ang notes that you have these vibrant magenta or fuchsia bracts surrounding a distinct white star-shaped true flower right in the middle.
Right, the key word there being bracts.
To a casual observer walking by, you see that massive explosion of fuchsia and you just think, oh, what a beautiful flower.
But biologically, they aren't the flower at all.
They're just modified leaves.
It's a botanical illusion.
The show-stopping part is functionally just foliage that adapted to mimic a bloom. The actual true flower is that tiny, delicate white star hidden inside.
It's an amazing evolutionary adaptation for metabolic efficiency.
Because big flowers take too much energy.
Exactly. Making huge true flowers requires massive cellular energy and water. So instead, the plant makes these tiny, metabolically cheap true flowers, but uses large modified leaves as a highly visible, low-energy neon billboard.
To scream for the attention of pollinators.
Yes. The pollinator gets drawn in by the visual trickery and then finds the true flower.
It's a biological bait and switch, and Ang is so precise he refuses to just use the shorthand. He makes sure to distinguish between the bract and the true flower.
That's the rigor of a systems engineer.
Applied to a simple terracotta pot. Which actually leads right into his main takeaway about plant maintenance.
Which heavily contradicts what most people would assume.
Totally. The counterintuitive care regimen, Ang reveals that Bougainvillea actually does not require regular watering.
At all.
Our standard human impulse when we see a potted plant is to give it water.
Because we equate constant hydration with optimal health.
But Ang's specific instructions say you actually need to let the soil dry out.
Completely dry out.
Until the leaves literally start to wilt. You wait for visible distress.
And giving it a good soak only after that wilting occurs is what actually encourages the blooming.
So for a listener wanting a low-maintenance plant, this is perfect. It just requires occasional pruning and watering.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we are looking at the concept of strategic neglect.
Strategic neglect.
Yeah. Often our modern instinct is to constantly hover and over-nurture.
Whether that's with a houseplant, a creative project, or a team at work.
Right. We assume a friction-free, perfectly comfortable environment is required for success.
But comfort prevents the bloom.
Exactly. If the plant is perfectly hydrated, it just makes more green leaves. It feels no biological urgency to reproduce, which is what flowering is.
The engineered drought introduces stress.
It registers a threat. Survival is no longer guaranteed, so it diverts all energy into pushing out those bracts to attract a pollinator immediately.
Sometimes a little bit of stress and stepping back is exactly what triggers growth.
You have to have the discipline to watch the leaves wilt and choose not to intervene.
Speaking of discipline, that brings us to the meta-narrative here. The mind of the software plumber himself.
The archive revelation.
The metadata on this post is stunning. It's titled Notes on Gardening, Part 824.
Part 824.
Just on gardening alone. So what does this all mean?
Well, when you look at the sidebar of his blog, the sheer volume of his documentation is just staggering.
He's been posting continuously since 2011.
And his frequency accelerates to this machine-like pace. From 2022 to 2025, he published over 730 posts a year.
That is 2 posts every single day, uninterrupted for 4 years.
And by March 2026, the date of our source text, he's already at 189 posts.
But it's the breadth of his curiosity that really stands out, the intersection of analog and digital.
The juxtaposition is wild.
On one hand, he's tinkering night-long with free Libre and open-source software, or flawless. He's writing about Haskell, Python, and Erlang.
Highly deterministic, absolute logic systems.
But right alongside that, he meticulously logs beta-spawn logs.
Tracking the deeply unpredictable reproductive cycles of fish.
And fish keeping, meditation, dieting, photography.
This raises an important question. What happens when you apply the rigorous open-source documentation mindset of a software engineer to the tactile, analog, and unpredictable world of nature?
You neutralize the emotional friction of daily setbacks.
Precisely. A failed cutting isn't a personal defeat anymore. It's just part 824 of an ongoing log. It's data.
It's learning out loud.
Yeah.
He publishes the 28 dead twigs alongside the 2 successes so others can learn from it.
Radical transparency.
So to summarize our core takeaways for you listening today, first, we explored the biological trickery of the Bougainvillea bracts.
A beautiful illusion.
Second, we uncovered the surprising power of strategic neglect to force a bloom.
Letting things wilt just enough.
And finally, the beauty of logging your 30 failures to celebrate your 1 success.
Which leaves you with a final thought to mull over today. If you treated your own daily mundane hobbies like watering a plant or fixing a household item as an open-source project worth documenting for 15 years, what hidden beautiful patterns in your own life might you suddenly be able to see?
That is a fascinating question to leave on. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Keep iterating on your systems, and we will catch you next time.